Hey, everyone. Welcome back to Sweet Lines. Today, we're going to create an adorable drawing of a coffee cup and a donut, and there's a sweet story that goes along with it. So grab your art supplies, and let's dive into this fun and tasty adventure together. Now, let's jump into the story. Get ready for an exciting adventure with our coffee cup and donut as they travel the world and explore new cultures. I can't wait to share all the fun and delicious experiences they'll have. Let's go. In a small cafe in the city, there was a pink donut named Dundee and a coffee cup called Kofi. They were close friends, always sharing their dreams and adventures. As they enjoyed their coffee and donut, Dundee excitedly said, "What if we traveled around the world? Let's discover new cultures." "Great idea." Kofi replied, "Let's start our adventure." 1. Rome, Italy. Their journey began in Rome, where they were amazed by the beauty of the city. They wandered through its ancient streets and enjoyed authentic Italian pizza. One day, they decided to visit the Colosseum, where they marveled at this historic landmark. On a special tour, they met an Italian named Marco, who wanted to show them more of Rome's beauty. He took them to the Venezia Park, where they sipped coffee and talked about the city's history. They then visited St. Peter's Square, where Marco shared stories about Italian arts and culture. At the end of their day, they decided to join a cooking class to learn how to make delicious dishes from scratch with a lively local chef. After the meal, they invited Marco to join them for dinner. But their adventure didn't end there. They decided to go on a nighttime walking tour of romantic Rome. 2. New York, USA. After leaving Rome, they headed to New York, where the bright lights dazzled everywhere. They visited Central Park, renting bikes to ride together. Halfway through, Dundee stopped to grab a slice of cake while Kofi enjoyed his coffee. In the evening, they decided to visit Times Square. There, they merged with the crowds and took tons of photos with the fireworks. During this time, they met a young man named Jason, who invited them to a party at a club. When they arrived, they blended into the atmosphere and enjoyed moments of joy and fun. They learned some fun moves together, making their New York experience unforgettable. Before they left, they agreed with Jason to keep in touch, exchanging information for potential future adventures. They also took a tour of Broadway, where they watched a spectacular show. They were amazed by the actors' talents and decided to take an acting class with Jason on their next visit. 3. Paris, France. Next, they traveled to Paris, the romantic city. Upon arrival, they went straight to the Eiffel Tower, where they enjoyed a stunning view of the city. After taking many photos, they headed to a local cafe to taste croissants and coffee. While at the cafe, they met a French woman named Clementine, who wanted to teach them some French phrases. They learned how to order food and express their admiration for French culture. By the end of the day, they went on a boat tour on the Seine River, enjoying the beautiful scenery. While on the boat tour, they felt the gentle breeze. They decided to ask Clementine to take them to a local art exhibit. At the exhibit, they interacted with artists and learned more about Parisian artistic culture. They also decided to attend a French cooking class, where they learned how to prepare the famous bœuf bourguignon. This experience was filled with laughter and learning, ending with a wonderful dinner shared with Clementine. 4. Switzerland. After Paris, they arrived in Switzerland, where the scenery was breathtaking. They visited the famous city of Interlaken, where they marveled at the snow-capped Alps. They decided to go for a hike, and there were plenty of adventures. During their hike, they got a little lost, but met a group of tourists who helped them get back on the right track. They visited Lake Brienz, where they enjoyed nature's beauty. One evening, they built a snowman in the yard of their host's home, which became one of their favorite memories. They also experienced Swiss chocolate in a cozy cabin. They exchanged stories with local skiers and learned more about their winter traditions. On one day, a local guide joined them for an ice climbing tour, where they learned how to scale snowy mountains. This experience was both thrilling and challenging, but they felt proud when they reached the summit. 5. Saudi Arabia. Next, they traveled to Saudi Arabia, where they visited the capital, Riyadh. They were amazed by the modern architecture and ancient traditions. They tried local dishes like kabsa and Arabic sweets. One day, they decided to visit the Al Zawla market, where they discovered traditional handicrafts. While exploring, they met a Saudi man named Salman, who showed them the beauty of the desert and shared stories about his culture. They went on a desert trip, where they rode camels and camped under the stars. That night was filled with laughter and stories, enjoying Arabic coffee and traditional sweets. They also visited the historic city of Darija, where they enjoyed an educational tour about the history of the kingdom, making their experience richer and more profound. The next day, they tried fishing in an oasis, learning how to use traditional fishing tools. 6. Egypt. After leaving Saudi Arabia, they headed to Egypt, where they visited the pyramids. They were amazed by the grandeur of the historic landmarks and decided to hire a tour guide to take them around. The guide shared fascinating stories about the pharaohs and ancient myths. One evening, they participated in a traditional celebration, wearing ancient Egyptian attire and enjoying delicious Egyptian dishes like koshari and molokhia. At the end of their trip, they decided to draw some pictures in the sand to commemorate their memories. They also visited Luxor, where they explored famous historical sites and admired the ancient carvings, telling the stories of the great Egyptian civilization. They took a felucca ride on the Nile, enjoying the sunset and sharing stories with locals. 7. Spain. In Spain, they discovered the rich culture of Andalusia, visiting historic palaces. They learned about traditional arts and crafts. The atmosphere was filled with laughter and excitement as they enjoyed a unique experience. They also toured the city of Barcelona, where they visited the Sagrada Familia Cathedral and enjoyed Gaudi's unique art. They joined a group of young Spaniards, adding a fun and interactive vibe. At the end of the day, they lit candles in one of the public squares. 8. India. Finally, they traveled to India, where they visited the city of Rajasthan. They were mesmerized by the colors and flavors. They explored traditional Indian markets, trying delicious food and purchasing some traditional jewelry. They roamed around tourist attractions and discovered the joyful Indian culture. One day, they attended the Diwali festival, lighting candles and celebrating in the streets with the locals. It was an experience filled with joy and festivities. They also joined a group of local students on an exploration trip to learn about Indian history, participating in workshops about traditional arts and crafts. They learned how to make a sari and exchanged ideas about arts and traditions. 9. China. In China, they visited the Great Wall. They climbed the wall and enjoyed the natural scenery. They then decided to visit the city of Beijing, where they savored traditional Chinese foods. They also took lessons in traditional arts, learning some basic movements from a local teacher. One day, they decided to visit a local market, where they bought souvenirs. One evening, they attended a traditional performance by a cultural troupe, where they were amazed by the artistic and historical displays. They wandered through traditional gardens and participated in Chinese tea ceremonies. 10. Japan. Finally, they traveled to Japan, where they went to Tokyo. They enjoyed experiencing the rich Japanese culture. They visited beautiful gardens and traditional markets. One day, they decided to learn how to make sushi in a local workshop. They enjoyed traditional tea and learned how to present dishes. By the end of the day, they found themselves in the Asakusa area, where they enjoyed visiting cultural landmarks. After weeks of traveling, they decided to return to the cafe where their adventure began. They reminisced about the memories and celebrated the new friendships they had formed throughout their journey. In the end, they realized that friendship and adventure are the essence of life. They agreed that each trip was more than just a visit to a new place, it was a rich experience filled with learning, culture, and joy. Thanks for watching, everyone. Before we wrap up, I want to remind you that we have puzzles and questions in the community tab every day just waiting for you to join in. We're aiming for 1,000 subscribers, and once we hit that milestone, we'll showcase your adorable drawings on our channel and introduce exciting segments that will bring us all closer together. We'll announce all the details when we reach that goal. Now, here's a fun question for you. If you had the chance to join our coffee cup and donut on an adventure, which country would you want to go to? And how many countries have you visited? Please share your answers in the comments because I really want to hear from you. I have to admit, I feel a bit sad that we haven't had much interaction yet. Our channel is still new, with over 35 videos in the playlist, and we're putting out drawing videos with stories just for you every day. So, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you won't miss any updates. Thank you for your support, and we can't wait to see you next time.